Well, the spring housing market reportedly going to turn out to be a dud this year. The Wall Street Journal says homes for sale inventory steadily has been rising, but demand is not. April existing homes dropped 0.5% month over month. That was the slowest sales pace for the month since 2009. March sales also seeing a similar pattern. I want to bring in Sotheby's International Realty Global Real Estate Advisor, Jenna Stauffer. She's here in New York with us. Jenna, it's always great to see you.
Always great to see you. Thank you for having me.
So, a dud. The Wall Street Journal is calling this a dud. Big headline. Your reaction?
Well, it's so unfortunate because now this is the third year that we're really seeing the housing market turn out to be a dud. And I would say the biggest thing with the housing market, which we've been talking about for a while, it really has to do with affordability constraints. That's why so many people are being held out of the housing market. I think what's happened is you look at home prices, you look at income levels, and the two have gotten so completely out of whack. For your income, you need double, you need triple in some markets to be able to afford that median price home 5 times the median price income level. So this has become so unsustainable for so many people. And then on top of affordability constraints, there has been some economic uncertainty. There's been some turbulence this year, and not all buyers do well under this type of an environment. Specifically, if you're just dipping your toes into the market, you really want to feel secure. I think you do have some buyers that like times like these. They turn to real estate. They view it as a safe haven, as that anti-fragile asset, but not everyone can do that in these conditions.
And the 30-year is at 6.8%. John's
yeah, that's.
I mean, I don't know what we're supposed to do with that. I mean, if it doesn't go down, you're going to have this issue, right?
Affordability is a mess, especially for the first-time buyer. It's not only home prices, it's also mortgage yields, and it's like both have to come down to make housing affordable again. And yet we also want to consider property insurance, property taxes, utility bills in some cases. My goodness, it's a disaster when you look at it for the first-time buyer. My own sense is we have to have the 10-year Treasury yield now at about 4.5%, go under 3.5% to try to restore some sense of normalcy to housing in this country. And perhaps the only way we get there is via an economic downturn, an outright recession.
But Jenna doesn't want to hear that as a real estate person.
They also
no, you don't want to hear that.
No.
That's what they also call. Yeah, they also call recessions.
Yeah.
Economic corrections.
Okay. What do you say to that, Jenna?
Well, we need a correction in the housing market. I hope it doesn't go that route, but there definitely has to be a correction because, as I said, this is not sustainable right now. Yeah. There is a shift that is happening in the market, though, and the shift that is happening, inventory levels are picking up. We're up over 31% from where we were last year. The market's very bifurcated. Some markets in the Sun Belt states specifically, they're really seeing inventory levels pick up. And then, of course, you have markets in the Northeast, Midwest that still have a lack of homes. But this is big because this will start putting that deceleration on prices.
Well, that's the pressure on Washington.
That's the important point.
Yeah, and that's the pressure on Washington. That's
increased supply, and then prices do soften.
Yeah, let's talk about Florida because April home prices dropped 4% year over year in Florida. Wow, now just over 412,000. That's the average for a single family. But sellers are struggling to find buyers in what was the hottest market after COVID. Inventory rose, 5.5 months supply for single family existing, 10 months worth of condo townhouse properties. Jenna, there's a lot to unpack there. Go ahead.
Well, prices were going parabolic, absolutely, and it was proving to be unsustainable. And now we are seeing a correction, and I think it's a healthy correction. I think we have to have this correction in Florida. You know, you were talking about it's the prices, it's the rates, it's the taxes, it's the insurance, it's this lethal combination. And insurance costs have gone really high in Florida. It's pushed locals out of the market. market, and it's just pushed people from being able to purchase in Florida. So this correction is healthy, and you know what happens during shifts like this? There's opportunities out there. And also, you really see some buyers are in the driver's seat in markets in Florida. They finally can ask for concessions. They finally can negotiate on the price. And I've watched some buyers get some great opportunities on homes that they would not have gotten a few years
That's
ago.
interesting, Todd.
Absolute hypothetical here, no basis in truth. But let's say you're a 47-year-old news anchor at the Fox News Channel who's interested in buying an investment property, which you'll convert into a potential retirement property for you and your wife, let's say 30 years down the line. When is the time? When do you think the bottom of the Florida market's going to be to pull that trigger so you maximize your investment?
I hate saying, I don't believe in timing the market. I think you have to do what's right for you. I do say, though, that Florida we're going to go through a correction. I do believe long-term growth in Florida, it's absolutely there. But right now, we're going through a correction. Where it goes, how deep it goes, it's all going to depend on inventory levels and just a number of factors.
Todd was definitely asking for a friend. Just to be clear.
A complete hypothetical.
Todd, that is not a fair question.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting, though, because Florida happens to be one of those states where you always have seen wild swings. I mean, this goes back decades.
Right.
And Florida initially was a place for retirees, but what we saw after COVID was all these retirees getting pushed out of Florida and heading for Tennessee and Alabama. Do you think that they're starting to come back because they miss what they had in Florida, which is beautiful weather, beautiful beaches, amazing taxes, a great governor. Governor DeSantis has done incredible work there.
Well, if they're not coming back yet, I know they want to be coming back. I've spoken with people that have had to get out of the state of Florida, and of course they would love to come back. They've gone up north, they've gone to more affordable places, but they don't have the lifestyle, they don't have the weather, they don't have what they had down in Florida. So they want to get back into the state, but again, we still have affordability challenges. And yes, we're seeing that correction, but our prices are still high, and you're still dealing with elevated taxes, elevated insurance, and just a combination of factors.
Well, let's see if the regulatory environment changes and prices come down. Maybe we'll have maybe certain news anchors in certain markets might be able to buy property. I don't know.
Hypothetical.
Jenna Stopper, it's always great to see you.
Thank you so much, Cheryl.
All right.